you guys. Tonight's study comes from Ephesians 6 13 through 15. This is the second part of the full armor of God. And it goes, therefore, take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand firm, stand therefore, having fastened on the belt of truth, and having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and as shoes for your feet, having put on the readiness given by the gospel of peace. So, if you remember in the last video, if you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. But in 6:12, it says we wrestle against spirits. So we find out that the conflict between us and the enemy is spiritual. Since we don't have tangible weapons to fight against the enemy, we have the full armor of God. So the first element we notice is the armor of truth. Now, the truth is extremely important because it comes from the truth from the Bible, not from man. And John 8:44, we realize that the enemy is the father of all lies. So anything opposite of the truth comes from the enemy. So we put on the armor of truth for our own sanctification and deliverance, as well as for those we witness. When we preach the gospel, it has to be biblical. It can't be man-made or feelings or entertainment like churches you see in Bethel or Hillsong. That's not a correct way to preach the truth. Now, the second element is the breastplate of righteousness. Now, it's not our righteousness, but Christ's righteousness. It's imputed by God and received by faith, which guards our hearts against the accusations of the enemy. Element number three, the feet with readiness of the gospel of peace. In warfare, there are obstacles that we will face. Now, just like in a soldier who goes into the territory of an enemy, there's like mines and all sorts of other traps. That's exactly how he sets us up. But the more we get involved with the word, the more that we pray, the more aware we are of these traps. Now, it doesn't mean you won't fail. It doesn't mean you won't stumble. When you do stumble, that's the reason why the message of grace is extremely important. Irresistible grace. Grace that your friends, your family, your coworker, your ex, your wife, your husband, your children, whoever, they will never give you grace. People are so hard at forgiving you, but they expect you to forgive them for the mistakes that they made, but they won't forgive you. Now, God doesn't work that way. It's unconditional love. It's grace. It doesn't mean you have a license to sin. My whole point is we put on the armor of God because we are protected spiritually against the enemy. But if we do stumble, we have grace. God bless you guys. Stay tuned for part 3.